Lee County Museum is looking for some volunteers to help keep their doors open.
The Schaefer Pen Museum in Fort Madison is the only fountain pen museum in the country. Since opening in 2011, the museum has faced some staffing woes, forcing it to close in 2017 before reopening then in 2018. That's when Secretary Dan Reppert joined the team. He says he and another volunteer have been on their own since then. Now he's asking his community to volunteer to help keep the city's history alive. And he says you don't have to be a pen expert to help.
I don't expect people to sit down and learn reams of information to volunteer here. I just want them to, sit and have a nice smile on their face and greet people and be real happy to see them come in. That's what I want in volunteers.
Reppert says the original Schaefer Company was the biggest employer in Fort Madison in the early 1900s. If you're interested in volunteering, you can apply at the museum at 627 Avenue G in Fort Madison.